might it have anything to do with somebody coming down the road and not having room to get through? You know, outrolled, there's not much point in me holding back if the car coming towards me can't get through, is it?
Yes. Okay. So if there was a larger vehicle coming down the other side of the road, and he's not going to be able to get through here, so let's say it's a big old furniture truck, he might hold back where that purple Fiesta is, in which case you are going to cross over that line. But if we're holding back, we should be at least on the centre line or left off if we're going to complete our hold back and allow the traffic through.
So why am I holding back so far from the silver curtain?
To give you enough room to pull out, with it not a bit like tires and tarmac, not being so close that you can't pull out and go around.
That's not a problem. No, get a bit closer and still get around.
You can get a little bit closer, yeah.
And still do loads of steering, get there, no problem.
Well, yeah, but the further you hold back, the less steering you have to do, so it's easier to control it. If you get too close and steer too sharply, there's more likelihood you're going to cross over the middle line.
Oh, I get you.
Yeah. Whereas if we hold back further, and keep the steering shallower, we can do a smoother neck to a wine bottle. And
would it not be just safer just to pull in and get close to the curb? And
people might think you're parked up.
Sorry?
People might think you're parked up. If you pulled over too far close to the curb, traffic behind us might think you've parked up and then just follow through. We're holding back, trying to let other traffic come through, and the other traffic overtakes you because they think you're parked up. So by using our road position, it's another way of signalling to the traffic what our intention is.
Oh, I get you.
We're not parked up. Most people wouldn't leave their car here and consider it parked. We're too far from the curb. So that should help the traffic behind us realise that we're not parking up. Because we're not going to indicate right to go around the parked car, because that could be confusing. We could be pulling onto that driveway over there. But again, our road positioning is part of our signalling our intent to other road users. Okay, so you're happy with that as distance from the car in front and position on the road for a hold back position?
Yes,
Yeah, okay. On that basis then we'll proceed. So when you're ready, and just check your mirrors please. So why do you think it's important to check those mirrors before pulling off, Tony?
Because you tell me to.
Because I tell you. And what are you looking for in those mirrors?
I'm just doing it because you tell me.
Okay. Well, you're checking your internal mirror for cars that are behind you for distance and speed. You're checking your left-hand door mirror to make sure that there's no bicycles or motorcyclists coming up the inside or pedestrians wandering about. And you're checking your right door mirror, just keeping an eye on those pedestrians. Checking your right door mirror to make sure no one's trying to overtake you.
Turning right.
And we're going to turn right, please, Tony.
Oh, so I'm not just checking them for the sake of checking.
You're not just checking for the sake of them, you're actually looking for other traffic, other vehicles, cyclists, mopeds, motorbikes, pedestrians creeping about where they shouldn't be. Okay. So, just crossed over we just crossed over a zebra crossing, so again, looking out for pedestrians.
Oh, we done zebra crosses last week, I've done okay then.
Okay. So you can see a vehicle here indicating on the right. We're going to go straight on. So what's this car? It was indicating right, so just steer around to the right of him and give him a little bit more clearance. So at least the door's with.
Oh, that car behind and that come close to me.
So always check your mirrors before changing your speed or your direction. Why do you think that's important to check your mirrors before changing your speed or your direction, Tony?
Not too sure.
You need to know what's behind you, because if the car behind you is following too close, you're going to need to change your speed earlier and slower than if he was following the way back. And checking your door mirrors to make sure no one's overtaking you, particularly if you're moving down to the right. Or make sure that no one's come up your inside like a cyclist or a moped if you're planning on moving to the left. So why might that be dangerous if someone was overtaking you and you moved off to the right?
They'd probably hit me, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Well, you'd hit them, they'd hit you, and there'd be an accident and somebody could get injured. So keep an eye on this car on the left-hand side. We're going to give it the appropriate width for door's width, thank you. Although he had his indicator on left, he might have quickly changed that to right.
Oh, you mean there's somebody in that car?
Yeah, because the lights are on. The lights are on, indicator's going, he could change that indication, couldn't he, and suddenly pull out. Or not even indicate.
Oh, I just thought somebody left the lights on.
You thought someone left their lights on, okay. When you see cars with lights on, for the most part. It means they've got people inside them, and that means that the car could move off. Anything could change.
Oh God, I never thought of that.
Right. Okay. So looking ahead, we've got traffic coming towards us. We've got parked cars. So we're going to slow down. We're just going to ease off the gas a little bit.
Oh, that car nearly ran the back of me there.
Okay. Always check your mirrors before changing any speed or direction.
The car moved, didn't it?
Yeah, it did move. So remember why we're checking our mirrors for change of speed or direction, Tony?
That vehicle was very close behind me, wasn't it?
Do you remember why we check our mirrors before changing speed or direction?
So I know how close he is behind me.
So you know how close he is. And if he's too close, what does that change? What does that mean you have to do?
I'm going to start panicking.
No, you're going to slow down a little bit earlier, and a bit slower, rather than slowing down quickly. Yeah, because what might happen if he's too close and you slow down quickly?
He'll run the back of me.
He might run into the back of you and have an accident.
Oh, he's turned off there, thank God.
He's turned off.
Better relax now.
You can never relax.
Straight across the dual carriageway.
We're going to go straight across the dual carriageway.
Right at the roundabout, all the way around, 180 degrees down the other side.
Right at the
Get me to
roundabout.
finish up in the right hand lane.
Okay. So we're going to turn left at the dual carriageway, straight on, turn right at the roundabout, all the way down to the roundabout at the end, and then come back. And we're going to end up in the right hand lane. Too close to that car.
Sorry?
We're a little bit too close to that car then.
I didn't hit it.
You didn't hit him, but tyres and tarmac. Remember why we use tyres and tarmac?
Oh, I forget now.
You forgot. So that we can see the tyres and the tarmac of the car in front. So stop before we get there. So you can see the tyres and a bit of tarmac. So that if that car breaks down or stops and puts its hazard lights on, we can pull around him without too much difficulty.
I said, no, he didn't have a breakdown.
Oh, they're rubbish cars. So tyres and tarmac. So that we can pull around if he was to break down and put his hazard warning lights on without too much difficulty, because if we get too close and the car behind us, who's also an Audi, gets too close, we could be blocked in and we're not be able to move then. And also if you're too close and somebody does hit you up the back, they might push you into him.
Right at the lights.
And we're going to turn right at the lights, please turn.
Close again, isn't it?
A little bit close. Yeah. Can you see his rear tyres?
No.
Okay. Why do you think it's important to give that tyres and tarmac space?
Because you said these Audis are rubbish.
Yeah, but why else? So that if he breaks down or stops, we can get around him?
Maybe you just tell me when to stop. Right.
Okay. So we're going to slow down and we're going to stop about here. So now can you see the rear tyres of the car?
I can, yeah.
You can, and with a tarmac in front.
I can, yeah.
Okay, and why is that important?
Because these Audis are rubbish, and they're always breaking down.
They're always breaking down. And if we were too close, what would be the problems we cause ourselves?
I'd be stuck behind him until the AA came out, wouldn't I?
Yeah, yeah.
Or the RAC.
Yeah, or what else might happen if the car behind us was to run into us?
Oh yeah, probably hit the back of the Audi, wouldn't it?
Probably hit the back of the Audi, yeah.
So whenever I cannot behind any vehicle, tyres and tarmac, yeah?
Tyres and tarmac, unless it's a bus or a big lorry, because it won't work with buses.
Oh,
and
they're
big
different.
lorries. They're much bigger, their rear wheels are much further forward, so we generally look for a bit of tarmac, but also to see the top of the bus or the top of the rear of the lorry. Yeah. So if you can see the top of the bus, you'll be that bit further back, because you won't see the rear wheels on the bus because there's about 8 feet of overhang at the back of the bus. So a bit of tarmac on the top of the bus, and you should be a suitable distance back. Because buses break down a lot as well, don't they? You always see buses down by the side of the road broken down.
Are they made by Eddie? only come across cyclists at cycle lanes.
No, you come across cyclists all over the place. You'll come across them pretty much anywhere on the road, but cycle lanes
And
are
turning left.
and turning left here, please.
Yeah, I'm listening.
So you'll see cyclists all over the place. You'll see them riding by the side of the road. You'll see them riding bikes very suddenly without notice across pedestrian crossings. So you've got to be, just like pedestrians, you've got to be very aware and very vigilant, looking out for them, scanning ahead all the time through the front screen.
Well, I don't treat them any different, do I?
Cyclists, yeah, you want to hold back a couple of car lengths from cyclists, and if you're turning left, and if you're overtaking cyclists, you want to be looking to give them 2 metres of clearance space.
What's 2 metres?
2 metres, distance from the centre of your steering wheel to my door doubled.
I'm not very good.
You're not very
I'm
good
not
at
very
that.
good with meters.
Okay. About a car's length, a car's width,
Sorry?
a car's width, a vehicle's width,
I know a door's width.
a door's width. Okay.
So I'll give him a door's width.
2 doors width.
No, 2 doors width.
Be very careful also when you see cyclists. Try not to rev your engine or sound your horn. You might startle them.
Yeah, I notice when I sound my horn, they look over the right shoulder.
Yeah, they look over their right shoulder. Generally, when they're looking over their right shoulder, means they're about to think about turning right.
Oh, it's not because I'm sounding the horn then.
Yeah, it's not because they're sounding the horn or because they want to have a look at you. It's because they're turning right. So if you see a cyclist looking over his right shoulder, he's probably going to intend to turn right and move out across your path. So important to look out for that. And if he is going to do that, let him go. If you didn't let him go, what do you think might happen? If a cyclist was to look over his shoulder and pull in front of you?
I would just stop and let him go.
Yeah. So what if you didn't stop or didn't give him enough space? If you weren't that couple of car lengths back from him, what do you think might happen? If you were right up close
Well,
to
I'd
him.
probably hit him.
Yeah, but even if you didn't hit him, if you were right up close to him, what might he do? He might get a bit startled and wobble, fall off in front of you, and then you'd probably run him over.
So if I see him look over his right shoulder,
Yeah.
just stop.
Slow down, ease up, don't stop. Check your mirrors first.
Oh, check the mirrors first.
Check your mirrors
Oh,
first
right.
because you're going to slow down. So you always want to check your mirrors before you.
Are these
slow down.
mirrors really important?
Mirrors are massively important. Yeah. You should be checking the mirrors before any change in speed or direction to know what's behind you, because if you don't and someone's too close or someone's overtaking you or someone's coming up the inside, it could have a nasty result. So you always need to be checking those mirrors and making sure you're aware of what's behind you.
So all this anticipation thing I was doing,
It's all about checking mirrors.
oh, was it tied in together?
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need to make that very clear about the mirrors.
Yeah.
don't you?
It threw me when I've been studying doing this 5 minutes to the right, 2 minutes left, and when you weren't responding, and then you did respond.
Hang on a second.
Yeah.
I did respond.
Yeah, and then I went on to go on about the dangers of not.
No, just going back.
Yeah.
And what's the real learner?
Mm.
When you try to get me to hold back, he said steer 5 minutes to you.
Mhm.
I did.
Yeah.
He said straighten up.
I left out the 10 minutes back.
Yeah, so that wasn't me playing up, that was me doing what I was told.
Yeah.
Yeah? Yeah, to me, straighten up is how the word's straight.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, I'll put my hand up to them. But what I was.
You struggled with the old clearance, didn't you?
What I was struggling with was I was getting you to do it, and then I was giving you the reasons why we were doing it, and the dangers of not doing it, and we did that 3 or 4 times, but it still didn't correct the fault.
Yeah, which bit was missing?
Well, I did the identification, I did the analysis, and I rectified it, I thought. But obviously you think a bit different. I thought I'd covered it off by.
Okay, so you were telling me I was too close to the parked car to
Yeah.
move away.
And then I was explaining why we wanted to be that clearance.
Yeah,
Because
door
the door
opening,
may fly open.
car walking out.
Kid walking out.
Sorry, kid walking out.
Yeah, someone jumping out the rear, kid flying the rear door open who can't see out the window. And what could potentially happen at the back of that, you could hit someone, you could take the door off, you could run over a child.
And then where did you go with it from there?
Well, nowhere really.
What's the last? What's the last of the core comps?
I thought I'd done the identity, the analysis, and the rectification.
And what's the remedial action for that was looking for on clearance?
I don't know.
The reference point.
The reference point, yeah. Yeah, I was struggling to find that, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It looked like you actually forgotten you were looking for a remedial action there, yeah? You know, hence I just had to keep going back in because...
yeah, because I hadn't given you any way of... Yeah, I hadn't given you any way of quantifying it.
Yeah.
I had a blind spot with a reference point for adequate clearance. I just had a blind spot.
Yeah, it's a matter of getting me in the position in the road. And I was actually in the position in the road as soon as we turned into it. And yeah, I shaved. And you got me to move away. There was nobody behind you there. You probably would have stopped me there and just got me to keep the wheels straight.
Yeah.
We could have picked up the reference point, which is the outer tires. Yeah.
Yep.
Or if we were on a clear road with no parked cars, you could have asked me have I got a reference point from a normal driving position, which is about a metre from the curb.
Yeah.
I may well have told you I had, yeah.
Yeah.
And you could have said, well, you can use that same reference point on the outer wheels.
Can you shortcut the process by just saying we'll use the same reference point, but you apply it to the rear wheels? Same reference point as normal driving position for curb. You just have it where the wheels cut through.
Do you really need to shorten it that much, though?
Well, if you pardon the pun, you're not reinventing the wheel, are you? They've already got a reference point they know and understand for normal driving position. So all you're doing is transferring it to the rear wheels.
Yeah, I mean,
it's 6 of 1 and 2 of 3, isn't it?
I mean, the area we were in, you had an excellent opportunity there.
Yeah.
You know, obviously, I wouldn't have tried it on the Dalla Road.
No, I wasn't going to try it on that. I wasn't going to bring you to a stop on that road or even try and pick up a reference point. I was going to wait until we turned off.
Yeah, I couldn't have picked the reference point there anyway.
Yeah, I wasn't even going to go for it on the Dalla Road.
Parked cars all the way along there, yeah.
No, of course. Okay. Oh yeah. I got confused because obviously I hadn't given you the reference point. I'd done everything else and I thought I'd covered it off, but I hadn't given you the reference point. But that's fine.
Yeah, you're still a little bit lacking on the importance of these mirrors, though, yeah? They seem to be an afterthought all the time, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, they really are a very big part of it. And there's no good just, you know, trying to teach them by rote. Check your mirrors, yeah? You know, it was only coming back up Dalla Road that actually got the reason why, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Where if the car behind me is too close, and if I know he's too close, I can brake a bit earlier to diffuse the situation. Yeah, that came in very, very late, didn't it? Right, we'll give that a rest there.